Got right to it, boy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Buckeye Brigade. Right now, just myself, Mike, and Brandon. Right now, being both from Scoop, but we have Chris might be joining later. Still waiting. Oh, nope. There we go.
Gotcha.
There we go. Right when we're doing the intro there, and of course we have our guy Juck here. Everyone, just as a reminder, first off, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining the community. Look on the bottom here. We just opened up memberships. If you want the first one, Blocko Club. Second tier, JT wasn't short. And of course, the third tier, we don't give a damn. You know the rest. So if you like the content, eventually, not sure yet, but probably eventually this will be going towards that, some of the content that we put on that platform, on the membership platform. But as of right now, of course, we want to make sure we give this to you guys, but we're happy you're here. Now let's get to it, guys. So, and now it's fresh on our minds right now. So I was watching Dev and Mello earlier. I was listening to him and oh, there we go. Oh yeah, okay, it's up. Let's go. All right, everyone. Just in case you didn't know, he is part of the show also. My man Ron is here. Ron, what's going on?
Fellas, how's it going?
Chilling.
What's up, Ronnie?
It's so good to see you, brother. Yeah, man. Ron, back outside. Let's go.
I know. My hat came detached, and it's just taking me a couple weeks to get it sewn back on, but we're here.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Plus, Chris is here right now, so we need another light skin in here.
Exactly.
So,
we got to keep it balanced.
Just more light skin, but so I was talking to him. I was listening to the guys, and they were talking about Chris Carter and him possibly joining the fold at Ohio State. And I saw also the message boards. I had it screenshotted to me. So, Brandon B. Moses, I want you to give of what you can tell us. Give us a lowdown of what you're hearing about that, about Chris Carter possibly joining the fold at the Woody.
Yeah, so on Buckeye Scoop yesterday, the helping technician is the name of the poster. And basically, I mean, it's a short nugget. He said Chris Carter's been roaming around and carrying himself very much like he's a part of the staff in the near future, will be an unbelievable addition to help mentor and coach up the receivers, especially with B. Hartline moving to O coordinator. And then he basically says, looking to hear something very shortly on this. All right. So basically, hey, this might be happening. This is what I'm hearing. And then Mello and Dev from the Buckeye Boys just did a show earlier saying they got a call saying it's happening. So listen, I don't know if y'all know Buckeye Boys. Them is my guys, Dev and Mello. They're legit. They got
I rock with Dev.
Connects. So this ain't no wannabe insider, wannabe trying to get clout stuff. They've surged to a point where they just got connects now, especially with dealing with the players and the parents, and they just got connects. So they said they got a call. And so until proven otherwise, I feel like it's going down. So if it does, because y'all got to remember, y'all, I mean, people are still getting used to this new ability to just literally add 11 coaches on your staff. Like,
right.
Like we can go in there and coach, special teams and whatever. Like you can do it. So to me, it's not even a shocker. It's not surprising. It's not, to me, it's not really a big deal as far as the ability to do it and who it is. It makes sense. But we're going to see if it's going to happen. We're going to hear about it very soon.
And so, for Jug, Mike, Ron, how do you guys feel about that? Me personally, as I'm sure you guys do also, I see Chris Carter as the the godfather of Ohio State wide receivers. He's Don Corleone, so I'm happy he's there. I think he should be there. I think you should want to have a guy like him that's around the players. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I think not even to the fact that it's Chris Carter, Buckeye royalty. I feel like it just makes sense for the staff in general. I mean, they said Brian Hartline's still undecided if he's going to be in the press box or on the sidelines calling plays. Let's be for real. He's going to be in the box, which makes you question all right, well, who's going to be on the sidelines? Anyone that watches Buckeye games knows Brian Hartline's a very animated coach. He's very in tune with his wide receivers. He's talking to them constantly in between series and things like that. I feel like that is going to be something missing from the sidelines. Traditionally, you would think, oh, well, Keenan can handle that. Keenan's a position coach. He has his own room to handle now, and you really haven't heard the name emerge post Keenan moving from Brian Hartline's right-hand man in that wide receiver room to tight ends coach. You really haven't heard a name really jump out as someone that's taking charge of the receivers, especially with Hartline taking over as offensive coordinator. If it's Chris Carter, I mean, I feel like that's a slam dunk as far as who you would want to replace, especially in the fact that like Ryan Hartline is still the position coach. He's still able to coach. So you don't necessarily need someone that's been in the weeds on the day-to-day, like some of the other position coaches that you've seen brought in at other positions to continue to fill out the staff. So I feel like with his pedigree, experience, knowledge, a Hall of Famer, I feel like if CC's the guy, that's great. But I think in general, I do feel like the Buckeyes are going to need someone to fill that game day role, especially if Hartline moves up into the box. And you're going to need someone to be with the wide receivers on game day and just someone that's more available. I mean, we saw the way Knowles moved around practice. You hear the way players talk about him being a bit of a recluse as a defensive coordinator. We don't know how much Brian Hartline is going to be being pulled in different directions and how much time that's going to take away from his actual room. So I think whether it's Chris Carter or someone else, I do feel like there's going to be someone that's going to fill some sort of void that Brian Hartline is going to create with him being pulled in so many different directions as the new offensive coordinator as well.
Ryan coming in out the gate cooking with the good info. Real quick, in the chat to address this, I'll be quick on this one.
Go ahead.
So Emily said Jordan, talking about Devin Jordan. So listen, they love Devin Jordan. Devin Jordan does an excellent job. I think really what the question is, like, they want at least two guys in that room. Like Ron said, like, he's the offensive coordinator now. And so he's being pulled on. He needs to be able to be free to just go and not worry about just having just one guy in the room. If Chris Carter gets hired, then you got Chris Carter and Jordan running that room. Hartline is still going to be over the room, but you got Chris Carter, the freaking Hall of Famer, along with the trusted assistant for years there. Like, that's a great move. So just Jordan ain't going nowhere. It's just putting another guy in there to allow Hartline to have a little more freedom. You know what I'm saying? So just wanted to clear that up.
So the way I had been thinking about this before this Chris Carter news was I was feeling like Day was having his coaching staff basically ready, right? Back when Coach Keenan Bailey was with the wide receivers, even in the recruiting of the wide receivers, like a Carnell Tate was saying that Coach Key needed his flowers because of how much he put into the recruitment as well. So I was like, hey, you can move Coach Key up to wide receivers. You got Tyler Bowen, who's the offensive line. You can move him tight end, and you already got two guys on the staff who could be an offensive line coach as well, right? So adding this Chris Carter, I think that, like y'all said, Brian Hartline, his focus is definitely shifted a bit. And when you're talking about game day, that's someone that he could possibly trust and getting, those guys in. But I do think that it does say a lot more about Devin Jordan. Maybe y'all don't believe it, but I do feel like, hey, why don't they have that faith in him? And maybe it's just they do have faith in him, and this Chris Carter move was just open. So why not take it?
Yeah, I don't even think it has to be a knock on Devin Jordan. I mean, I think B. Moses hit on it in this era of unlimited coaches. Juck and I talked about this off air with unlimited coaches. It feels like, why not? It feels like Ohio State is finally really loosening the belt as far as, hey, we're going to spend, we're going to take advantage of every role and opportunity. And if that means, hey, we have a left tackle coach, a right tackle coach, a left guard coach, a right guard coach, and a center coach, and an offensive line coach, if we got the money for it, hey, I don't want to hear about money or staff issues coming off a national championship. What's everybody's favorite story to tell about Nick Saban? Oh, Nick Saban, after he wins the national championship, he spends the whole flight on the phone with donors. I'm sure Ryan Day had cell service too. Like, I don't think that like they didn't take advantage of that opportunity to ask for money after a national championship. I feel like whatever Ryan Day asked for, he's going to get. And if he has the opportunity to, if he goes to Ross Bjork and says, hey, I can hire a Hall of Fame wide receiver to come in and help on staff, can you find the funds? I think Ross will be able to find a couch somewhere in the Woody that has the cash in it.
Right.
I love this, man. We're looking at Chris. If you look at Chris Carter the last, 18 months or so, just in his socials and on shows he's on, been much more involved in talking about Ohio State. You kind of seen this coming, him trying to kind of cozy back up to the program. And I have loved watching that happen. And boy, bringing him in is just awesome. Hey, anytime you get a gold jacket, it's awesome. And Chris just loves Ohio State. The respect he commands, it's a great thing, man.
Terrible thing. How do you know he can coach? Because he was a good player, Juck.
Yeah.
and here's my response to people that say that. How do you know that he can coach? I don't care. He doesn't need to coach because Brian Hartline is one of the best wide receiver coaches in the country. We have Coach Keith still on staff. We have Devin Jordan there, and that's why I feel like this role. And that's why I said it doesn't matter if it's CC or not, because I feel like while there is a void for someone to step in there, it doesn't necessarily have to be some route god or some YouTube route trainer that's going to come in and change these guys. Because the value of having I couldn't remember the guys. There's some sort of online trainer. Yeah, like whatever the YouTube wide receiver trainers are. Route god, whatever the hell that guy's name is. You don't need a guy like that on staff, because the value of having you have Jeremiah Smith, a guy that they're comparing to Megatron, and Julio Jones, a guy that you're preparing to take the steps to represent Ohio State into eternity. We're talking about Chris Carter, Buckeye royalty that played here how many years ago? Having Jeremiah Smith in a room with a guy like Chris Carter every day, whether they don't talk about X's and O's one time, the life lessons that having Chris Carter, a guy that understands what it means to be a Buckeye, knows what it means to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver, having that pedigree around these guys that aspire to do all of those things. When you're wide receiver, if you bring that type of knowledge base of not necessarily just running routes at Ohio State, but what it means to represent the Buckeyes into eternity, I feel like CC is the guy to have around those people.
But I mean, what you can also say is let's just look at history. Let's look at the track record, right? Where was Hartline coaching before this? Before he became the best wide receiver coach. Let's talk about the same thing. James Laurinaitis just jumped his toe right into college football, right? And now he's one of the top linebackers, and we're seeing it. We watched how he changed the linebacker room at Ohio State. So, I mean,
Mike,
some people, I just feel like they're trolling.
And even for the haters that like to say, "Oh, Brian Hartline's not a great wide receiver coach. What did he teach Marvin Harrison Jr.?" Well, okay, to that argument, fine. Marvin Harrison Jr., great wide receiver, didn't coach anywhere, taught Marv everything. Like, whichever way you want to spin it and say, like, "Oh, this guy hasn't coached before." I mean, it's Hall of Fame talent. Like, at some point, it's gonna rub off in some sort of way. So, I like, if it's CC, he's the guy. If I think that's a great hire. If it's not, I feel like the Buckeyes have an opportunity to go out and grab someone to continue to add to that room as Brian Hartline gets pulled in different directions.
All right, Brandon, you were going to add something?
Yeah, man. So first of all, let's go back. When Chris Carter, he was down in Florida coaching for St. Thomas Aquinas years ago. I don't know if y'all remember that. So he was coaching there. Also, he was at FAU. He held a position there, but was said to be coaching wide receivers there as well. So that does away with this. He never coached things. So that's one. Not that matters. But so there's that. But also, you mean to tell me, for anybody questioning this, you mean to tell me Hall of Famer Chris Carter can't run drills and tell, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, hold on. On your route, this is what you should do on this route. Like, I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, like let's just stop being stupid
No,
and
mind
unless
you-
you just go ahead,
Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
Unless you just trolling just to add some spice to the chat, cool. But just say that. But otherwise, you being a goofy. Like, let's just stop playing. So this is a fantastic hire if it happens.
Don't they say that CC has like the greatest hands of all time?
Yeah, man.
That's a thing. Like, listen, man, like I'm right with you guys. Even like look at James Laurinaitis. I saw him play linebacker at Ohio State. I saw him play linebacker for the Rams. The guy was damn. He can run a drill. Like it ain't that hard, man. Like Ron said, we got TikTokers doing drills now.
Here's also the thing that people miss, right? You go even as a top wide receiver or whatever, right? The route guys. We seen Marvin Harrison even go work out with them, right? So you go work out with these different trainers and these different coaches on these different teams, and you take things that you like, you take things that you don't like, and you're able to build off of that, right? Or some things that you wish that you had have done, you know? So, I mean, Chris Carter has been around a lot of programs, you know, has been around a lot of NFL teams as well. You know, it was his job. So he's seen guys working out. He's seen the different things. And also, I think that there was a clip, maybe not even 2-3 years ago, we seen Chris Carter working out, actually running some drills. So, I mean, let's just be honest.
Are you looking for eligibility, Mike?
Hey, man, I'm done. I put it up. I put the cleats up, man.
All right, guys. So let's get to what happened this past weekend. There was the scrimmage they had for the student appreciation. Hundreds of Buckeye fan students there. All the media there, of course. We saw a lot of clips from there. But, of course, the biggest story is always going to be surrounding around the most important position in sports, which is the quarterback position. Now, you guys know me to be one to not pull back punches. I do like to do victory laps. The last time we were here, I asked a question. No, I'm sorry. The first time we did this show, so almost a month ago. I asked about Lincoln Kienholz and the position and him starting for the Ohio State Buckeyes. And I want to point this out. Juck, you dismissed me. Chris, you dismissed me. Brandon, I'm not sure. I don't remember what you did. I don't remember. I'm just going to say you dismissed me too. And I asked, and I've asked this question upon many platforms. I've asked if Lincoln is 85% of the passer or he's pushing him, like, what do you do? And I've seen these situations, man. And of course, it's like flip-flopped. I remember when Trevor Lawrence came in his freshman year and the quarterback was, what was that guy's name?
Kelly Bryant.
And I saw that spring game. And I said, oh, that boy's about to fold because he felt the pressure of someone else. And look, and it's really early because, and if you ask me today, I still think Julian's going to be the quarterback to start the season. But Sage, if you're in here, I want to point this out because Sage Buckeye, he said that he sent this the other day, yesterday. The more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. It sounds like that boy Lincoln Kienholz been sweating. That's what it sounds like. To that, you say what?
I don't know if that's necessarily a victory lap because if everybody thought Julian was good.
The victory lap, Ron, is that I have been dismissed about Lincoln even being an actually pushing him to be the starter.
But I feel like even if that is the case, I don't know if that's necessarily something to celebrate because if you look at everything that the Buckeyes depth chart told us last year, Lincoln Kienholz was in 4th place. So either Lincoln has taken a miraculous jump or Julian Sain has either seen stagnation in his progression or a regression. So, I mean, cool if Lincoln's playing better, and that's a shout out to Lincoln, but I feel like that's a bigger concern because if the plan was to start Lincoln or that was something that they necessarily had in their cards, I don't think that would have been someone running scout team last year for a national championship team. So that's just where I stand with that.
What if I said to you that it's not so much a regression, it's just a spring practice, and that's what happens in spring practices? Where on the other side of it for Lincoln can't. So like Julian's gonna have some all days. That's gonna happen. And plus, it's there's a tendency to be more negative.
So by that same logic, that would mean that Lincoln lends to be more like the 4-string quarterback that he was last year than this superstar that's shining in spring practice.
No, that's what I'm saying. Let me finish.
Doesn't count on his end of the argument, right?
See, that's what I'm saying. Like if you apply that logic to both quarterbacks, if they're both who they've been through a large sample size, Lincoln Keenholz was the 4-string quarterback on the roster last year.
Ron, can you tell me what year it is?
2025.
I don't give a damn to talk about last year.
Okay, if you want to put false parameters and ignore history, I guess.
Let me finish. I'm sitting here saying that I'm not overstepping. I'm not gonna blow over about him having a couple bad practices out of Julian because I'm sure he's had good practices, as Ryan Day has said. On the other side of it, we all knew Julian was a project coming out of high school. Everyone knew that. So
Julian or Lincoln?
Julian?
I'm sorry,
Julian, the consensus number one quarterback in his class.
Lincoln. So, freshman year, I don't really care about that because that means nothing to me. Last year, yeah, you probably didn't take a jump, buddy. Now, am I going to be surprised that in the third year he takes a jump? Is that no? What he does this spring has nothing to do with what he did last spring. On the other side, because I do want to, I think we all know this could be a thing. Could Ryan Day be simply just trying to push Julian? Yes. That could just be a thing.
Okay.
But when I say victory lap, my friend, it's because of all the people who said I was just an idiot for thinking that Lincoln could even have a chance at taking this position.
Garrison, you didn't win. It's not a victory. It's not a ball game. What are you talking about? Victory lap.
Right,
number one. Number two, I didn't think we were keeping score, but now that we're doing that, all right, we'll start.
Okay, go ahead.
It just doesn't. I just don't understand.
Wait, if you're gonna call me an idiot, not you specifically, but if someone's gonna call me an idiot for thinking that Lincoln could actually have a chance, actually can push Julian or even have a chance of starting for the Ohio State Buckeyes. No, I'm going to sit here and tell you, you daft idiot, you daft dumb mother, like all that. You were wrong. If you sat here and said that Julian had not Julian, if you said Lincoln had no chance, you look like a daft fool.
Are you talking to me?
Anybody that said to me, Garrison, you are wrong to even think that Lincoln has a chance in this, I think you are daft.
Who said that on this panel, though?
I don't know.
Who didn't say he was? I think he was talking about like anybody because like he was saying someone in the comment section, someone on Twitter. So
and Chris.
Okay, because Chris ain't here to defend
you're gonna
himself.
You're gonna have to talk to those people. All I'm saying in regards to a victory lap is cool. Even if you're right, like I mean, that's like being right about the world ending. Like, how much did you win? Like, my thing is, if the plan was to start Julian and everyone intended, and the whole reason why everyone's saying it was an absurd idea at the time, or people were so against your thought process, was because everybody was so adamant of the thought that Julian's the next guy, because if there was an opportunity for Lincoln to start, why let Devin walk? If someone got hurt in the national championship, Ryan Day and that depth chart told you.
Who said they let Devin walk? Maybe he left.
I mean,
did he leave? Did they?
You let him walk. You ain't tell him he was the job. You let him walk.
No, I don't think that's like.
Do you think they had to make attempts to stop? Do you think they stopped Caleb Down from entertaining transfer?
No.
Do you think they had to stop?
If my girl wants to,
do you think they had to stop Carnell Tate? They made efforts to stop that.
If my girl wants to up and leave, and I let her go out the door, leave, go, Bob.
But they didn't take that approach with other people. They didn't take that approach with other people.
All right. Anyways, I think the real topic is how do y'all feel about the quarterbacks coming out of the spring, out of the student appreciation game? How do y'all feel? Are there things that y'all liked from the quarterbacks? What did you not like from the quarterbacks? Juck, start us off, man.
That went longer than I wanted it to. I was trying to get into that, but then Ron wanted to fight me on it.
No, you
Right,
took a
nobody
victory
wanted
lap
to
to
fight
the
with
lead.
you. I don't. What are you
I
talking about?
said Juck. I said Juck.
Go ahead, Chuck.
I'm sorry, C Mike. I missed the question. What did I like or not like?
Oh yeah, what was your likes and dislikes
Yeah.
from the quarterbacks from the student appreciation scrimmage?
I really liked seeing a couple of balls getting ripped down the seam by Julian. Looked pretty nice. I saw some. I don't know. There was some footage that one of the students had sent me, and a couple of balls in there from Lincoln that weren't so hot. I don't know. Without being there, I didn't see a ton, but obviously he hit that great ball to Carnell down the sideline there. That was really nice looking. But all in all, I guess the offense moved better with him, and that's great. That's great for practice number 12 of the spring. Don't think anybody should be taking victory laps at any point, no matter what you said.
See, bringing it back up.
You literally said I'm taking a victory. That's what you said.
I'm not rehashing it. I'm not rehashing it. How would you rehash it?
We don't have to rehash it. As far as my feelings coming out of that game, my biggest I would say it's concern, just because coming out of last season, it felt like Julian had a firm grasp on the third spot on that depth chart and was ahead of Lincoln Keenholz, the guy that we anticipated turning the keys to this program over. And to see him not really take hold of that position is concerning. I think both of these guys can be successful as Buckeye quarterbacks. Yes, I feel like the Buckeye standard for success at the quarterback position is different than pretty much every other program in the country. So can someone come out and be a prime example? Kyle McCord. Is Kyle McCord a terrible quarterback? No, he was the savior for Syracuse. I challenge you to find a Syracuse fan that outside of people that may have traveled to the Pitt game that have a bad thing to say about Kyle McCord. But Buckeye fans, I feel like the amount of people that have good things to say are far and few between. It's the standard and expectation for quarterback at Ohio State is just that much different. And my concern with these quarterbacks is, could Lincoln win us 10 games? Sure. Could Julian win us 10 games? Absolutely. 10 games has Kyle McCord remembered as one of the most frustrating players in Ohio State history in the last decade. And then he went on to go be celebrated at another school. So all I'm saying is I have a level of concern that someone that Ryan Day told me was the fourth best quarterback on his roster 3 months ago. And if something happened to Will Howard, there were two other guys that he planned on playing ahead of him to less than 6 months later, this is going to be the guy to lead us against potentially number 1 or number 2 team Texas to start the season. That's concerning to me. A big shout out to Lincoln Keenholz and the step that he has made to make this a conversation. But the fact that he is in this conversation, I feel like is concerning, because everything that you look at from last year in no way indicates that this was the plan. Because if it was the plan, why would your starter against Texas the following year be running scout team 3 months ago?
That's fair.
All right. Can I jump in?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
First of all, that shirt is fire, Juck. The Buckeye shirt is fire. I love
Thanks,
it,
B.
sir. Yeah. But listen, I'm not concerned, man. This is not alarming to me. This is classic Ohio State fan overreaction. I don't care what y'all say. It's just what we do. It's one practice. And so here's the thing. Ryan Day, every year, even when Justin Fields was here, for example, we all knew he was going to end up starting. But what happened? He had to make sure he earned it, right? So he's going to get pushed. Now, in this case, Ryan Day was asked by the media several times, hey, are you worried? Are you concerned? And he kind of broke it down and said, listen, I'd be more concerned if we didn't have a quarterback. Now, we can say he's coach speaking and say he's lying, whatever. I'm going to take him at his word. He said he's not worried about not having a quarterback, but if Lincoln is stepping up in his third year, then he's stepping up. That doesn't necessarily, in my opinion, say that Sam is starting to waffle or fade away. He never said Sam was looking bad. He never said Sam wasn't doing a good job. It's just been the hype on how Lincoln has stepped up and looked good, especially in that scrimmage. And let's be honest, like the last time we saw him on the field was against Missouri. And he came in the summertime that year. He did not have spring ball. He had very limited reps. They had to give most of the reps to Devin to get prepared for that game because that was his first start. So he came out there with limited reps, probably knew about 4 plays. On top of that, a trash line. So our memory of Lincoln Kingholz was not a very good memory. So then now you got them saying, oh, he's surging and it's neck and neck. Now we're thinking like, man, how this trash quarterback is neck and neck with Julian saying
but I feel like you're skipping a lot in the timeline because he also played a spring game last year where he had the most turnovers of any Buckeye quarterback and then was battling with Aaron Nolan throughout the season for quarterback 4. You keep saying last year doesn't matter. Yes, it does.
No, that's not what I'm about to say. That's not what I'm about to say.
So all I'm saying is that not absent context from what he just shared? Because that's not the last time that we saw him play.
But that wasn't what I was going to say, though. What I was going to say is anyone that thinks that a spring game is the measurement of what should be grading a quarterback, I don't. Especially, that's not.
No, I'm adding the context of it's not that Lincoln Kingholz has been this guy in the shadows working in the lab, in the Rocky lab, just getting ready and no one's seen him. What I'm saying is there is context. There have been other milestone evaluations where he has not surpassed other people. So what I'm saying is it's not like, oh, this just came out of nowhere. There have been indications leading up to this point that when measured against the quarterbacks in other scenarios outside of this last spring with Ohio State, in between the Missouri game and now, there have been other measurements. That's all I'm saying.
Outside Ron, follow
just the last time they was on the field.
To your comment, is your only data point to prove that the spring game? Or is there more that you could point to? Yeah, the other measurements. The
fact that Devin Brown and Julian Sain would come in the game before Lincoln Kingholz during the season. So when you are anticipating who would play, when you're looking at the depth chart less than 4 months ago, Ryan Day's telling you, if someone gets hurt before I put Lincoln Kingholz in, I'm putting in Devin Brown and Julian Sain. That's what I'm saying. So clearly something has changed, whether it be the step that he's taken past Julian or Julian's taken a step back. But what I'm saying is, as of 4 months ago, there was an indication from the coaching staff that that's where he stood in the pecking order.
Okay, got you. So a couple things real quick just to respond to that. And this kind of goes back to what we said about letting Devin walk. Remember, Devin Brown got paid to stay when Kyle left. Do y'all remember that? He got paid, NIL money. He was paid to stay here. Y'all can go verify that, check that out. So they didn't let him walk at that point because obviously they needed him. He needed to stay and play against Missouri. So he stayed another year, another season. He had clear experience over Lincoln. So to me, it's logical to play him before Lincoln. So there's that. Now, as far as the spring game, like Justin Fields had trash numbers in the spring game. Other quarterbacks had trash performance in the spring game.
4 for 13.
Pretty fine. So I'm saying I hear you, Ron, but the spring game to me, I just don't put that much into it as a like to point to. I put real bullets flying like in the Missouri game, which I don't even blame Lincoln. I'm not even dumping on Lincoln. Like he was thrown to the wolves. So, but to your point, yes, something did happen. I guess my only pushback is there's no evidence or any inkling that what happened is that Sain took a step back. It's just that Lincoln took a step up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. So just so you guys I'm clear on this. I don't think Sain took a step back. I don't. Like I said, I think it's just football. It's just football, and that's what happens. Before we keep going,
hold on, let me
we
get
got
my
Santa
take.
Claus over here.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we got Blue Wolverine. Listen, man. You know, there's not a lot of Wolverine fans that I truly like. I mean, my best friend Bryce is one. I mean, I live in the States, so I have to live with these people every day. But Blue Wolverine's a good guy. Appreciate you handing out 10 memberships today. That's awesome. We really appreciate it. Again, everyone, if you want to join the membership, you want to join the community, press join. You can see it there, see what comes with it, and we would love to have you. Let's go through some of these comments real quick. Been trying to get Juck to make amazing blue shirt. Juck, is that coming?
Not a chance in hell.
Oh man, what
Yeah.
Great
Hold
response.
firm,
man.
Jack.
So wherever you get Sainer from, oh yes, that was Saban's Alabama. He saw something really good in Kip and Matt Reynolds. That's fact. At the end, I mean, when that was Bills, not Bills, but yeah, Knicks guy. So no, listen, man. If it comes down to it, yes, I would love for Julian to start. Like if you put a gun in my head, yeah. What do you guys think?
My thing is this, man. Both of the guys are Ohio State quarterbacks, right?
Yep.
Here's my thing. I believe that if Ryan Day did not believe in either one of these guys, that he would have went into the portal. That's my belief. But here's the thing, man. You hear stuff about Ryan Day said this is the first time he allowed the quarterbacks to be live, like all of the quarterbacks that he wanted to be live. And you hear about the toughness issues. Now, one thing that I have always been big on when I did defend Ryan Day was he's not known for making the same mistake twice, right? So is he finding ways how to bring toughness out of whatever quarterback needs that? What if that doesn't happen? I mean, I like what I'm seeing out of all of the quarterbacks. One thing that I have given Ryan Day credit for is his development. And I just think that, I've seen things that I liked out of Lincoln, seen things that I like out of Sam. I like the fact that Lincoln's a little bit more athletic, and I've been missing those athletic quarterbacks, I guess. But they're both Buckeye quarterbacks, right? And we got to trust Ryan Day. We got to trust the staff. If you say that you trust Ryan Day and you believe in Ryan Day, then it doesn't matter which one of these guys is the starter, right? I mean, they're a Buckeye. So I don't think that it matters what path they took. We can discuss Lincoln's path. Also, you want to talk about him being a scout team quarterback. Maybe he was the scout team quarterback because he gave them the most game-like looks. I mean, we heard the team and the players even brag about the looks that Lincoln gave him for those games leading up to the playoffs, or actually when they was playing in the playoffs. So I think we still got to give Lincoln Kinghost his credit. And also remember, coming out of high school, this guy was like a 3-4 sport athlete. He didn't do what Sane did and in the offseason go get with a quarterback coach all the time and just focus on football. This man was focused on 3-4 different sports. So
National Gatorade Athlete of the Year.
This is the one time that he's actually like focused on football, and we hear it takes some guys some time to develop. So why wouldn't he, like, if we believe in our development here at Ohio State, we develop, why shouldn't he be up there or in contention in year 3?
Ron, were you going to say something? We're going to move on. Were you going to say something, Ron?
No, yeah, I mean, shout out to Lincoln for the progress that he's made, and I think that it is a testament to the jump that he's made, or the work that he's put in general, whether Julian has regressed or Lincoln has just taken a step. The only thing that can't be disputed is Lincoln is playing better than he was last year and taking some sort of step within the coach's trust that he's even in this conversation. Because, I mean, even last year when you heard Chip Kelly talk about the quarterback battle, the names that he would talk about was, I mean, you would hear Lincoln kind of thrown in there occasionally, but it was Will and Devin. And to see Lincoln, a guy, be in this conversation, I feel like that is like you guys said, Ryan Day's not going to just put a guy out there that he has absolutely no trust in. But the reason why I use the word concerning is because it felt like everything the way last year lined up was this was supposed to be an easy transition. And the fact that Lincoln, I mean, I guess you could look at it glass half full or glass half empty. This is either a good thing that we now have 2 quarterbacks that we're comfortable with. If you want to take Ryan Day's word for it and say, I'm not concerned, I have a quarterback. It's about just choosing which one is best for me. Or you could look at it glass half full. If you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. So it's however you want to look at it. But I feel like seeing Lincoln in this situation that he's neck and neck, if Julian is the guy that we anticipated him to be, and he does take that step into being the 5-star, number 1 overall quarterback in his class, and lives up to that expectation, knowing that you have Lincoln, who was able to challenge him in the spring as a backup in that depth after losing a guy like Devin Brown, who you were comfortable with as your backup for 2 years. And now you have a guy that like Lincoln that's been in the program for 3 years. If he doesn't end up winning the quarterback battle, I do feel like this experience is going to be good for him as a backup at Ohio State if he doesn't end up winning this job.
Hey, Garrison, 15 seconds, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just going to give my prediction. My prediction is that Julian Sain is going to win the starting job. And they're going to do what Mike said. They're going to make him their Bo Pabula in the red zone. So to me, I love that.
If
Julian
stays,
Sain,
though.
yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think he's going to leave.
So
That's
either.
also my prediction. I don't think he's going to the portal if he doesn't win the job. I think they're going to sell him on the fact that they need him in a long season, especially if they get packages ready for him in the red zone with his athleticism. That's a role for him to cling to. They might even throw him a little bread like they did Devin to get him to stay a little longer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's going anywhere. That's just my opinion. So
right here
to throw that bread.
from Wolverine in Ohio, so the opposite of me. Just stay at trouble in the suck guys quarterback room. Buddy, I'm going to tell you the same thing I tell every other Wolverine fan. We don't keep accountants and salesmen in our quarterback room like you guys do. We don't do that.
Last time we said that they won a national championship with a 5-star quarterback that played better than ours, but I digress.
I'll tell you this, Ron, though. I didn't want this to be an easy transition to quarterback. I want guys to have to fight for their jobs. And to be honest, who's to say, like, if we thought that Sain was good last year, who's to say how much better he can be because he got pushed? I think that also has something say about that.
As frustrated as I am, you're right, Mike. We would be this would be really boring if we knew everything that was happening and Sam was doing just fine. At least they've given us some entertainment for the spring.
Yep. All right, before we get to the other, I guess you can say almost quarter of the show, get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the voice of college football. See what our partner Win Agency has to say about its sponsorship experience with us. Let's discuss how you also can reach your target market by contacting us at sponsorships@vocfb.com. Again, that is sponsorships@vocfb.com today. And by the way, because I keep doing this because I'm so serious about this. If anyone here knows how to get these 2 CJ Stroud cards signed, the 2 rookie cards, I will give you one of them. I promise you I will. But I need these signed. And if you can get if you can get my, because I'm a Cowboys fan, if you can get my Ezekiel Elliott rookie card signed, that'd be
ain't happening. Unless you paying. I'm just letting you know, bro. I'm just letting you know. I trust me.
You're probably better off just buying those exact cards signed.
As someone who's down here in Texas, I'm letting you know. I didn't try.
That's tough, man. That's tough.
Didn't try. Zeke ain't having it.
The next thing I want to talk to you guys about was, there was a video circulating around about a player that he was a 5-star linebacker, but Mike has been really hammering the hammer about Riley Pettijohn. And, I see that video of him ragdolling Phillip Daniels, and it made me think, of all the young guys, the freshmen, redshirt freshmen, sophomores, who do you think is going to make more the impact this upcoming season, or maybe move themselves up in the depth chart during the spring and going into the season? Jock, we'll start with you.
You're including second-year guys too?
Yeah, I think they're all young. They're all young to me. So, like, if you're a freshman or redshirt freshman, I guess
so I'm going to go with
sophomores who haven't played.
I'm going Peyton Pierce, man. That's the look in James Laurinaitis' face when he was talking about Peyton Pierce was different. And then you go to Monday's press conference, and there were 3 questions asked about Peyton Pierce to Matt Patricia and Ryan Day. And they went on the list of, it was like every single thing we would about James Laurinaitis when he was playing football. Like, it was just every single bullet point. And it's just at this point, like, this is too much over the top praise for us not to take notice here. Peyton's about to blow. I really think that.
Yeah. I don't have anything clever to say. It's Peyton Pierce. I mean, I think it's okay to be.
No, I'm asking what player do you think of all, like,
Yeah.
Oh, you want Peyton?
Yeah, because if you think about it, like, to me, it's two things. Peyton Pierce is the answer. However, it's quite all right to be excited about Pettijohn because I'm excited about Pettijohn and his athleticism and his strength and all that. But as far as who's going to be up next to get those next reps and pop this year, Peyton Pierce is first in line. I mean, it's just what it is. Like Chuck said, watch the interviews. I mean, they, loving you is easy because you're beautiful. You hear that in the background.
Keep going.
Shooting doo. I can't hit that high note, but y'all get the point. So, I mean, like I'm saying, it's Pierce, but I am excited about Pettijohn all the same still.
Right.
I will jump off the train. I'm going to go with a different name. Chuck and I actually just had this conversation offline, and I think it is Bo Jackson. I feel like I have a PhD in coach talk after covering this team, and something that always stands out to me is when these coaches volunteer a name that isn't offered to them. I feel like a lot of people ask leading questions for our coaches, and they have the answer that they know they want out of the coach when they ask the question. But when the coaches swat away whatever question is thrown at them and bring up someone that wasn't mentioned, I feel like that's an indicator of how they feel about that player. And Carlos Loughlin has been Mutombo swatting James Peoples' questions away for the entire spring to talk about Bo Jackson. And it feels like it's a twofold on why he's doing that. One, to send a message to James Peoples that just because you're the oldest, we're not handing you this job. So I'm not letting anyone just assert you at the top of my depth chart. And I feel like that's one reason why he does it. And two, I feel like Bo Jackson is a Carlos Loughlin type of guy. As Mike says, no soft batch cookies in that room. And I feel like Bo Jackson fits that. And he brings an element to the Buckeye offense that I feel like gets underrated when you talk about Zone 6 and the high-flying Ryan Day's offense, but something that has been integral to the Buckeyes' success for the last 4 years is Travion Henderson's home run ability. You look at the Minnesota game, you look at the playoffs, you look at the Notre Dame game last year, the ability to break off those types of runs and the ability to completely change a game from the running back position and get a huge play just off of a run play. And I feel like with a guy like C.J. Donaldson, is more of a bigger body back, a guy that formerly played tight end. I feel like Bo getting that opportunity, I feel like he, with that potential big play explosion, has the opportunity to provide something to this offense where if James Peoples, I mean, he's had fumbling issues in the past. If he leaves that door open, I feel like Bo Jackson's a guy that could burst right through it.
Hey, Garrison, I think I misunderstood your question. I thought you were limiting it to linebackers.
Nah, that's what.
That's
what Garrison
was.
No, any players in the players in.
We can circle back. Okay, we can circle back.
No, that's cool. I mean, that's cool. I'm not going to take no more time up, but that's why I said Peyton Pierce, because I'm like, there's no other answer than that if it's just linebackers. But go ahead.
Well, who else you got on the team?
Yeah.
As far as who's going to pop, just a freshman or a sophomore who hasn't played,
right?
I mean, I think Mylan Graham's going to be the second best receiver on the team. I mean, that's my take. I came up with that take weeks ago.
What is the time? Someone get the timestamp on 48:40. I cannot wait to revisit this one.
The disrespect that y'all are showing Showtime is ridiculous.
Y'all just completely. Hold on, y'all not gonna clue Ron in on the inside joke before he just circle back on me later.
I'm about to blow a gasket.
You missed
this Mylan Graham shit, bro. Because like when I hear these Mylan Graham people talk about Mylan Graham playing over Brandon Ennis, it's like, man, I think Luke Montgomery is gonna start at running back. He's not even a slot wide receiver. Like he plays behind Carnell Tate. So for all you Mylan Graham truthers out there, for every stat you think he's going to get, think about Carnell Tate on the sidelines while it's happening. Please.
All right, Ron.
You want to tell him, Garrison?
No,
Okay.
no. I want Mike. No. I want Mike to go next.
All right. Well,
because you know who I'm.
Yeah, I already know Garrison on, man. Anyways, so got to talk about my guy Pettijohn. You saw him, and every time I heard this, when everybody talked about that clip and Pettijohn up against, I believe who was that, Daniels?
Yeah,
everyone always talk about, oh, that's a freshman going up against a vet. I have tried to tell y'all since I have watched that kid in August, that is not your typical freshman, bro. That young man is very, very different to the point I have told y'all. I seen them bring that young man in on a short yardage just to run the ball. He plays defense. And it looked like he could have got like 3-5 more yards, but looked over and said, oh, I got the first. Go ahead, offense, y'all do y'all thing. Like, this guy's just different. And I also just want to say, that's not the first time that he showed his dominance as a freshman against a vet in spring practice. So start off there. And then also, guys, shout out my guy, Devin Sanchez, man. I'm shocked that nobody has said him. Nobody talked about him. I think he's definitely going to be in the rotation and maybe a mainstay in that rotation. I would really like to see us get back to like the Kerry Coombs days where we had at least 3, maybe 4 guys. And I'm hoping that Devin Sanchez can be one of those guys. And I guess we're going to have to listen to Garrison talk about Mylan Graham, and then you're going to have the people talking about Quincy Porter over Mylan Graham now. So, everybody likes the shiny new toys. So let's go.
That's true. Everyone does like the shiny new toys.
So real quick, Ron, just so you don't come for me later on, that was me making fun of Garrison when you missed the first show. Was it the first show?
Yeah, the
where
first
he
show.
said he made a declaration that by the end of the season, Mylan Graham would be considered the second, I guess second most talented receiver. So that was me making fun of that. I love Mylan Graham, but I don't want you coming for me later. Like D Moses said, no, I was making fun of Garrison.
It's one of those things that, like, I feel like with Mylan Graham, I feel like people just ignore the context, and I feel like the amount of Mylan Graham that we see this year is going to be very similar to Brandon Inniss for the exact same reason that it looked like Brandon Inniss last year, because he came in this. Can I talk, or are you going to just mumble?
I didn't interrupt. I shake my head.
So when you look at Brandon Inniss arriving to Ohio State late because he couldn't early enroll, it gave Carnell Tate the opportunity, despite being the lower-rated wide receiver, to integrate himself into that offense and establish himself as someone that could play early. I feel like you're watching Mylan Graham still kind of be a tick behind, having arrived later than Jeremiah Smith got here, and the wide receiver room being as such, it's just not going to lend itself to give him that type of opportunity. And I feel like with the 3 guys that you had ahead of him, please tell me the wide receiver 4 that you've seen integrated into this offense, because I feel like if you think about the wide receiver out of the top 3 in the Ryan Day era that played the most, it was Xavier Johnson.
Okay.
JSN had 11 catches as a true freshman. Like they've shown the ability to just park someone on the sidelines. And if it's a guy that has already shown his commitment to Brian Hartline and the Buckeyes by not entertaining the transfer portal, not letting people tamper with his recruitment because of the respect that he has for Brian Hartline and being his first major offer before he was even a 5-star. I feel like that's a guy, a Buckeye, that you can trust that they understand the process. And when it's their time, it's going to be their time. And until then, you just got to wait. And if Brandon Inniss 5-star, the only 5-star in the Big Ten in 2023, can wait 2 years for his opportunity, I think Mylan Graham is a guy that can too. And if they had indications of Mylan Graham inserting himself into this lineup in a meaningful way. I think last year you would have seen doses of Mylan Graham sprinkled in towards the end of the year a little bit more than you did. And you can shake your head all you want. We can put any amount of money on it. Like, let's get a bet right now on Mylan Graham.
Run on your bumper. Run on your bumper.
No, because I feel like this Mylan Graham hype is all a disrespect to Brandon Inniss, because Mylan Graham isn't even repping in the slot, and the idea that he's going to play on the outside over Brandon, over Carnell and Jeremiah, and then you have a guy like Quincy Porter who just got his black stripe off.
Can I talk?
Go for it. Let's hear it.
Okay, so first off, I was shaking my head at if he was making any, like, I didn't expect to see him last year. There was no reason to get him on the field last year. That's one. Specifically because he plays more towards, he can play outside and inside. He plays on the outside a lot. Secondly, this is why I believe the way I believe. Like I have a couple friends that play college football, and what we do is that we like to, because we all three did, we like to like watch guys, we like to like watch players, see how they move. Because I played corner, my two friends played wide receiver in college. One on the D2 level at GVSU, the other one at St. Norbert up in Wisconsin. So, in one of them, my best friend Lawson, actually, who's probably one of the, like, when it comes to just breaking down how to be a wide receiver, that is who I go to. I will go to him over anyone else not named Brian Hartley. Anyone that's not a professional, I'm going to him because he actually knows the position. I remember back when Chris Olave came in as a 3-star, no one really knew about him. He watched his tape. He said, no, that's the guy. He said, no, that guy's him. He's it. So I trust that. I trust his eyes. And he's been right about other wide receivers. So when we sat down, we watched Mylan Graham. We're watching his feet. We're watching how he moves. We're watching his hips. We're watching how corners play him. We're watching his catch radius. We're seeing how to use your length. We're seeing how to use your eyes. We're checking out while you're running down the sideline, how fast or how slow do you turn your head? Because the faster you turn your head around the corner of the safety, they know the ball is coming. These are all the things I'm watching. I'm not sitting here caring about if this guy is there or this guy's there. No.
So you're ignoring any logic and predetermined history that would indicate that he's not going to have the opportunity to play based on what you saw on tape. That's what you just said, though.
I did not interrupt you.
So all right, get it off. You got it.
So I let you. So I'm coming from it as someone who's like who's played against the position.
I got it. You played football.
No, it's not.
You've established that.
Well, it's not. Well, that's the first time.
No, because you're trying to dump a resume on me to make the point. Make the point. Make the point. The fact that you played football and your friends played football means nothing. Make your point.
That's not right, dude.
That's literally just a resume. We get it. You put your hand in the dirt,
Ron.
You put your hand in the dirt, bro. Finish.
I can't finish if you keep interrupting me. Good God.
You got it.
Thank goodness. I know I got it. So when I like I said, I'm watching their plays, I'm watching their tape, because I didn't just say that because I played football.
You did. You spent more time talking about your football career than your point. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ. All right, dude. All right. Go. Go. You got it, Ron. Yeah, no, I didn't interrupt you, but if you want to interrupt me and I can't get it and I can't finish my point, there's no point in me talking about it. So either way, I think Mylan Graham is somebody who can insert himself into a good position this season. I think that he has the skill set that you're looking for in a wide receiver who has come in late, because if you have the ability to, again, move your feet, move your hips, and you know how to run routes at an A level, you are going to you're going to succeed. And he's not a small guy. Now, I don't believe he's going to, like, just because I big up somebody else doesn't mean I'm diminishing another. I'm not going to diminish BI. I think a lot of people forget who BI is and who he's considered to be when he was coming out of South Florida. He's considered one of the best football players ever come out of there. So that's not. I'm not talking about BI. I think that when you look at the position of the outside receiver, the X and Y, and you're talking Jeremiah, you're talking Carnell. And by the way, this is not me just sitting here. Like, I can be wrong. I have no problem being wrong. If I'm wrong, cool. I'm okay with that. I'm just going by something that I have believed about Mylan Graham since I saw him. Not saw him. I didn't see him live. Since I watched some of his highlight tapes. I'm sitting here watching what people are saying about him. I'm watching what the scouts are saying about him. So it's not just I'm being some fanboy. This is something that I really see in this player where I think he can be completely special. I really believe that about him.
All of those things could be true, and he could still not play this year because all of those things could have been true about Brandon Inniss the past 2 years. But because of the situation at Ohio State and how loaded that room is, just because you have fluid hips and can run good routes doesn't mean that you're going to play at Ohio State. Marvin Harrison Jr. scored 3 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl after sitting on the bench all damn year. Could Marvin Harrison Jr. have contributed that year? I'm sure. But he didn't play. Could JSN have contributed more as a true freshman? Sure, but he didn't play. Could Brandon Inniss have contributed the past 2 years more? Sure, but he didn't play. So what I'm saying is just because Mylan Graham isn't going to play this year doesn't invalidate any of those things you say, but I feel like you're pushing a disingenuous narrative when historical context would tell you, regardless, that if you're as good as you say and all of this stuff on tape, when you look at the depth chart and you look at Brian Hartline's receivers, traditionally, it would tend to lean towards the backup Z has zero chance of being the number 2 most talented receiver on the team next year. Could he be at long-term the number 2 best wide receiver when it's all said and done with all of these guys? Sure, but nothing with the way the depth chart is lining up and the way these guys have played so far indicates that this guy's going to get the opportunity to do those things. Is he talented enough? Sure, but there's been plenty of guys that have been more than talented enough to get on the field and play more. Carnell Tate could have played more as a true freshman, but the room is loaded. So when you see the depth charts come out, when you see him repping, and he's repping as the backup Z, Carnell Tate, the oldest guy in the room, a guy that's looking to be a captain, Brian Hartline, a guy that doesn't historically rotate his guys. What is leading you outside of Twitter narratives and hype to believe that this guy is going to contribute in a meaningful way upwards of 400 to 500 yards in the season when we haven't seen the 4th wide receiver do that since Xavier Johnson? He was in the 200-300 range, and that's not a substantial contribution. Did he have big moments? Absolutely. But nothing the way this wide receiver room is shaping up points to this guy seeing the field in a capacity that indicates that he'll be in the top 3 of production. That's what I'm saying. It has nothing to do with the performance. It has nothing to do with the performance of Mylan Graham or how good of a receiver he is.
I never said he'd be top 3 in production. That's something that I didn't say. That never came out of my mouth. I said I believe that at the end of the year, whether at the end of the season, and mind you, I'm thinking to myself, okay, no, I'm just gonna finish what I'm saying. By the end of the season, I think by that time we might see I think we might see enough out of Mylan to be yeah. And that's fine if you don't I have no problem if you don't believe that, because I think the difference
that's not what I don't believe.
I think the difference in opinion here is that I believe he's going to see the field a little bit more than you believe he's going to. I think
agreed, and I don't think it has anything to do with the quality of player that he is. I think it has to do with Ohio State's tendencies to rotate and the stacked talent in the room. It's nothing against Mylan Graham. I just think we've seen plenty of times that guys have been quote unquote ready to play in our eyes, and they just haven't seen the field, not just in that wide receiver room. I mean, Jelani Thurman, I think a lot of people thought he was more than capable of playing more minutes than we saw last year. A guy we just didn't see get on the field. We see it all the time with Buckeye. Jermaine Matthews, another guy. I mean, Jermaine Matthews could have started all year at outside corner, and I still think we win a national championship. He didn't play. And I don't think that means Jermaine Matthews can't be a first-round cornerback in the NFL draft. That's what I feel like people have trouble having these conversations because – and I'm not saying this is you in particular, Garrison, but what I've seen with this Mylan Graham narrative is no one can talk about Mylan Graham on this team without criticizing Brandon Inniss. And I feel
I'm not yet.
And I feel like that is a narrative being pushed that's not fair to Brandon. And I don't think it's going to play out on the field in that way either.
Yeah, I love.
Can I jump in, fellas?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, I want to read. I'm just going to read this real quick from EV. Man, I grabbed my popcorn at the right time. You're damn right you did. You did, brother. Trust me. This is nothing compared than when me and Ron first started talking to each other. You should have heard those Cal McCord, Devin Brown talks. You should have heard those. They were crazy. What were you gonna say, Brandon?
I thought we was in the spaces for a minute.
It's been a while. I haven't been on the microphone in a minute. Got a lot to say.
No, I like it. I like it.
Yeah, spaces get wild, man. A little too wild at times.
Well, I put a poll in the chat right now. Garrison and Ryan are tied for who's winning the verses.
Were you saying
All right.
most?
So yeah, I was just gonna say, man. I think Ron mentioned. I think he said both can be true. I think he said that, and I agree. Like, first of all, Brandon Ennis, I think he's a dog. I think that number 1 jersey is going to make him pop even more. But now he does look a little quicker and faster in the spring. But I think he's KJ Hill 2.0, probably even better. A little more athletic KJ Hill. That's my comp. That's been my comp for him for a while now.
I literally just
Brandon
said that to Chuck 30 minutes ago offline.
Oh, see? Great minds think alike, brother. Great minds think alike. So because Brandon Ennis, man, and listen, Brandon Ennis and Mylon Graham are 2 different skill sets. They're 2 different type of guys. Okay, I think that's obvious. I do think Mylon Graham has a potential, like a splashier, big play, higher ceiling down the road. But Brandon Ennis, what did you get from KJ Hill? You got the sticks moved every time, reliable. He even got handoffs out the backfield. I think Ennis is definitely going to get that. He's going to get the Ibuka treatment and the JSN treatment. You're going to see him in orbit motion, handoffs, little screens out the backfield. He's physical. We've seen him knock dudes in the dirt. I mean, I love Ennis. I think he's going to really, really pop this year and be a key cog in this offense. Like, I really believe that. I'm very high on
Can I
Ennis.
piggyback off that a little bit? I feel like we're going to see something with Brandon Ennis that he provides that where Mylon Graham reminds me more of your JSNs and your when you saw Garrett Wilson in the slot. X's and Z's that can play slot, and they're not your traditional big body X. They're a little bit more shifty. But Brandon Ennis reminds me of that KJ Hill role where you look around and it's like, how the hell is this guy leading the team in receptions? Because it is a safety blanket in the offense where it's not necessarily going to be the blow the top off the defense type of play where Garrett Wilson's making some sort of acrobatic catch or Chris Olave's running past the defense, but it's someone that can move the sticks, and it is like a safety blanket for the quarterback. And the separation that he creates, especially with a young quarterback, whether it be Julian Sain or Lincoln Keenholt's a first-time starter, having a guy that you know can run a short route and is going to be open and has that comfort throw that he can make, a guy that you can put on a jet sweep, and it's like having a running back there that can get you a couple tough yards when things aren't moving. And the one thing that I feel like we're starting to see, and it's been a theme, and Mike can attest to this. We've done episodes in the past about this. We've been previewing what has been causing the chippiness. You can go back to the Best Damn Media YouTube channel and find these old episodes where we talked about wait until you get a predominantly South Florida wide receiver room going against a bunch of Ohio kids in the DB room, and you're going to have Cincinnati and Cleveland kids battling with these South Florida kids. 2 areas of people that like to talk, and then you throw a Devin Sanchez who's just a freak of nature, ultimate talent into it, and you just have this recipe of fighting fire every day in practice and just growing from each other. And Brandon Ennis is a junkyard dog. You see the way he grabs Ryan Day, and Brian Day lights up because that confidence, that South Florida swagger that Brandon Ennis brings to a New Hampshire head coach that pre-national championship used to second guess himself, where you have these South Florida kids that back down from nothing and have never seen an opponent that has ever scared them. And I feel like that confidence in themselves and the dogs that they have on that defense, it's like oil and water in practice, the way they clash. But I feel like that value added, Mylon Graham, again, a great talent. But one of the things that you heard, like even when he played for SFE, he only played with them for a short period of time. He's a quiet guy. He played in Indiana. He wasn't on the big circuit. Brandon Ennis brings an intangible value, something like to the extent of Will Howard when he used like the energy that he brought and the calm and collectiveness that he brought to the team because he was so confident, because he talked shit, because he didn't back down. I think that's something that Brandon Inniss brings to that offense. Are there other maybe more technical things that Mylan Graham may add? Is he a touch faster? Is he a touch taller? Maybe. But that junkyard dog mentality on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think it can be discounted either.
Yeah, agreed. Dang, what was I going to say about? Oh yeah, somebody in the chat, Abdul, you said, do you think we'll see BI in the backfield from time to time? Yeah, I actually hit on that. Yes, I do. You're going to see him lined up in the slot, come in motion, get handoffs. You're going to see him line up tight. You're going to basically what you saw Abuka get this year, which was occasional handoffs and activity in the backfield. That's what you're going to see with Inniss. I guarantee it. So
guys, before we get going here, first off, Ron, you coming here was one of the greatest surprises. I did not expect it, man. We were talking. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come today, but if he does, cool. So I'm really happy you made it, bro. And you got me
glad to be here. Appreciate you guys having me. No diddy.
You're part of the show, bro. What are you talking about?
Shit, we'll have Ron on different shows. Oh, yeah. He'll be back.
So before we get out of here, guys, I want you to let everyone know. I'm sure everyone knows everything can find us, but just tell them what content you have dropping soon. Juck, you can start with you.
Yeah. You can check me pretty much every day now. About 8 a.m. Over at Juck on Bucks is something new. Maybe a half an hour, maybe an hour. Who knows? Depends how much work I get done and how much is going on. But appreciate you guys.
Who next? Me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So with the Buckeye Scoop, as some of you know, me and my brother Funky Buck go live at 6 p.m. Eastern every Sunday. And then also I got a thriving page on Facebook, Buckeye Sports Talk with B Moses. And then on IG, also follow me on Twitter, B Moses 30 on Twitter. So yeah, those are the places you can find me at.
That was very modest of you, B Moses. You are absolutely booming on Facebook.
Big facts.
B Moses is absolutely booming over there. We are in the middle of the off season with the Buckeye Roast. Q and I are on a little hiatus. We will be back at the start of fall camp. But if you did miss us a little bit, you can get a little bit more of our spring content and catch up. I will be on Juck Show tomorrow. So if you missed me, check out Juck on Bucks tomorrow. I will be on there catching up on some spring talk with Juck. He's like my number one source for Ohio State news when I'm not really in coverage, and I'll randomly shoot him some text like, hey, got to get off all my hot takes. Is this a safe space? So I'm glad that he's having me on the show tomorrow as an opportunity to get off some of these hot takes, because I haven't had any outlet during the off season. I haven't spoke much about the Buckeyes since the national championship. I really haven't had much to say. It's hard to get riled up when you go to sleep in your championship t-shirt every night and think about that natty. I can't get riled up when about position battles too much when I know we just won a national championship.
Are you telling me that all this was me just getting the back blow of everything just piling up, and then I got smacked in the face?
I haven't been able to give takes, and the fact that you put your face on my most hated take that I've seen on the timeline this offseason, to the point that I've sent text messages out that I'm going to have to start doing shows if people keep disrespecting Brandon Inniss on my timeline. Like, it's my offseason. I don't talk Buckeyes, and I keep seeing Brandon Inniss slander, and believe me, I am a South Florida Express propagandist. Like, I'm here to pump all the SFE hype that there is. Mylan Graham is an SFE alum. I'm rooting for him to the end. It's the fact that people have used him as a proxy to take shots at Brandon Inniss, and I'm not having it. They are both great players, and I'm not letting people use Mylan to create SFE on SFE beef. It is SFE against the world.
Hey guys, Mike, before you go, I got a text from Mama Gaddy. She goes, "Gee, don't be calling people MF or fool."
Hey, she got you. But yeah, Ron, Shoot, Garrison might also be our NFL brother soon. You know, he looking to pull a Kasai and hop in the portal.
Dallas ain't doing it, man.
Don't come here. Look, don't do it. Like this ain't for the look. I know we got to get out of here. Just quickly, I got a text from those who know I'm Pittsburgh born and raised, Steeler fan. I do not like Aaron Rodgers. He beat us in a Super Bowl. I think he's an old crackhead. I don't want him as my quarterback. Pat McAfee has announced that these tickets for this big live show in Pittsburgh, I've seen Pat McAfee anytime he's live in Pittsburgh for his comedy shows, his live podcast. Pat went to high school about 15 minutes away from where I grew up, like Yinzer to the core. I listened to him talk about his hometown. I could see exactly the places that he's talking about. We played against the same high schools in high school. So, like, I'm a huge Pat supporter. When he announced this on March 10th, I said he's going to be announcing Aaron Rodgers as our starting quarterback, and I'd rather jump off the Clemente than go pay to see that. So I don't join the Steelers bandwagon. It's not a good time to be a Steeler fan right now. Not many great – the Lions are playing well right now. Like, you have an excuse to jump on that bandwagon.
No,
Man Campbell,
no.
be a Lions fan.
No.
This is the best time to ever jump in.
Oh, man.
I'll
My
be a
bad,
Cincy
Garrison.
fan
I'm
for
sorry
that.
to put you out like that. But y'all can
Go
follow
ahead,
me
Mike.
on the X app at 216_wildboy. I will be right here on this platform live at 7:30 with the world famous Buckeye show. So catch me and Terry live. Garrison, what you got?
No, man, guys, as always, first off, make sure to show up for that. Love watching Terry and Mike. It's a great show, 7:30. And then on Thursday, you can join the call-in show with myself and Ryan Stanos. That will be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, you guys, yeah, I'm happy Chris didn't get because I don't know if I could handle getting pile drived by him and Ron today.
Paul, big whoa!
Jeez, bro.
Oh my goodness, bro.
Save that talk for Jim.
Ryan saw say anything when Moses. Ryan saw say anything when Green Moses said earlier, come over later and come on me. Y'all didn't say nothing about
Wrap the show. I didn't sign up for this kind of show. I don't feel
Your
All
mother's
right,
in the
y'all,
chat.
that is
Your
not
mother's in the
you.
chat, Garrison.
Oh wait. All right,
man.
OH everybody.
All right, man. Ayo, peace.
Ayo, fellas.
Ayo.
Peace.